It's time to start our Cherokee Village SID meeting for the December. I have been asked to chair this meeting. Ron's got here by the hair of his chinny chin chin, as he's been told. So with that, let's have a moment of silence to start our meeting out. Okay, and I'd like to introduce our lawyer today. We have Joey Price via Zoom with us for our anything legal that we need. So next is to approve the agenda. Commissioners, please read over it and see if there's any changes or anything.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda.
I have a motion from Joe to approve the agenda. Ron seconds the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is to approve the minutes from November 21st SID meeting. If you would kindly read over them and see if there's any changes we need to make or if they're good as they go.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
I have a motion by Susan to accept the minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second the meeting. Minutes.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
The minutes are approved. There you go, Ron. And with that, if we have any property owners that would like to make a comment before we start the meeting, the mic is open.
Actually, here's the one. I got it.
Okay.
We'll take this one.
Okay. And I'll just bring it back under that.
It's on.
Good. I'm Mike Conley. I'm property owner, but I'm also the president of the Health and Fitness Club. I wasn't able to attend the last meeting. I was out of town, but I did watch the video and just needed to clarify something that you guys were discussing on the membership fees and how much money that the SID and the fitness club actually get. It's not $50, it's actually 50%. So according to our bylaws and the lease agreement between the fitness club and the SID, which goes back to 2002, it's 50% of that. And then I had another question, because I know that you guys actually went ahead and approved a proration for next year. I'd like to know, when did the prorated from before actually be dissolved or go away? And did you guys actually vote on that? Because I went through my bylaws, and according to the bylaws that have been in effect, the membership fee was $100 in January, and then from that point on, it was prorated. So when did it go away? And then why did we have to reapprove that? So it's been in effect, and did you guys actually vote on that prior? What meeting? When did it actually happen? So I wanted to bring that up because I was not able to be here for that.
I can speak on that. I wasn't part of any meeting that said that the prorate changed, so I'm not really sure at what point all of that happened. That was kind of the rule that was taught to me when I started working here, and we adopted it and moved forward with it. I did confer with one of the gentlemen who was a treasurer for many years, and he was the one that said there was a lease in place. It has not been renewed in several years, but that in the lease stated the $50 per membership.
No, the last lease that was signed was 2020. That's the last one that I have. So the president before that didn't do that, but it's 50%, not $50. And I've got all the copies from 2002 that say 50%, not $50.
Well, I think the vote at the last meeting goes right along with that, and so I would say at this point we've got it on record that that's how it should be. I couldn't tell you what year, when that happened, when that change occurred.
Right.
We kind of rolled with what was going on.
But I know, and I appreciate you guys doing a prorated one for next year, but I think that's always been in effect. According to our bylaws, it's been in effect. So when did that go away, that date that you guys had to go and reapprove that? That's what I was wondering. So even though I know it's approved for 2023, because you said it was a trial basis, but in the bylaws, it's always been in the bylaws for the proration. So I was just bringing that up.
Do we have a copy of their bylaws?
I don't.
Can you, can you
Sure.
forward it to us? So that way we
And then,
can.
and I know we have to do a new lease agreement, again, one wasn't done since 2020 was the last one. So I'll do it up and we'll do another one. for
Appreciate it.
2023, but I just wanted to bring that up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak before we move on? Okay, old business. We got commissioner selection update. Tony has completed all the state requirements for commissioner and has been sworn in. Next is Joe, your Christmas tree project.
Susan could probably tell you better than I can, but she met with Norm Flowers this week, and they discussed that. So what they have decided on, and I'm in 100% agreement of that, is the trees to be dropped off, after Christmas until January the 6th. We're going to cut it off January the 6th at each dam on each lake. And there'll be a designated spot there with a little sign out there or something stating at the Christmas tree drop-off. They'll drop them at each dam site, and then at January the 6th, we're going to compile a team to go out and start placing these trees, depending on how many we get. We may have one or we may have 500, but that's where we're at, so.
Please make sure all your tinsel and everything's off the trees. That's the most important thing.
No Christmas lights.
Do we have any volunteers that would go to like Tractor
We made about
Supply
25 flyers, so any of you that have a business or can share those
What do they do with them?
common areas with places to kind of promote this, it would be great. It'd be great for the lakes, and there's some over there on the table, and I'll print more if you've got some place you'd like to put them.
Here's another question Susan brought up, and I think it's a good idea. What about like Tractor Supply or other places that are selling Christmas trees, and then after Christmas is over, what do they do with them? Do they dispose of them or whatever? Maybe they would donate them to us to use if they don't have a huge amount of them. That might be a good, we'd probably need a volunteer to go speak with some managers of those locations that have them. I don't know.
I'll do that.
Norm, if you can locate places that are selling them and see what they do with the trees after they don't sell them, so.
Yeah.
I know Walmart's already got up Valentine candy, so they probably don't have any.
Okay, let's move on. New business. We got additional 10 new carts coming in.
No, it's open for conversation. I started this conversation back with Clear Creek in late November because interest rates were still low and they were promoting to us, of course, get them quick and get them in on that lease with that lower interest rate. You'll see the email that I attached from yesterday that says that would not be the case. It would be a chance of the interest rate fluctuating on that lease. Where he had originally quoted us at $58 a cart, it could go as high as, I believe it's $66 a cart. But what my thought and process is that we are trying to expand the fleet. Right now we've got 40 carts, so there's 24 at the South Course, there's 16 here, and many times through the summer we are hauling carts from here to there for tournaments and different occasions, and I think that they've proven to pay for themselves and that increasing that fleet each year might not be a bad idea. It would also stagger the lease to where they all wouldn't come due at lease time at the same time, because of course that lease says it's a great time to upgrade when those leases come up, so it would kind of stagger those payments a little bit. Now, I'd love to have 20, but I asked for 10 and wanted it to be a conversation that y'all have before we would vote on it with our capital items in a few weeks.
Okay. So how are you going to split these up then between the two courses? 5 at each?
Actually, what I would do is I'd make 20 here and 30 there.
Okay.
So that's, unless we got 20, then it would be 40 there and 30 here, or 20 here. I think 20 carts at this location has never been a problem. We're not having issues anymore because you can turn the carts. Before, when they were electric, if you got 18 holes out of them, you were lucky. You couldn't turn them the second time. We are turning the carts the second time. But again, there's too many times we're dragging carts back and forth to the other courses because of tournaments.
So do you think 10 is enough?
10 would help. I want 20, but I'm trying not to be greedy.
Yeah, that sounds like a budget review item.
There you go, and I'm something to discuss,
And
yes.
is it, I'm reading as fast as I can. Is it on the leased equipment? I'm looking for the golf course. Golf carts.
So when we
It's
lease,
at Clear Creek, it's on this
Yeah.
right here. It's a Clear Creek email, and that just confirms the pricing and that they cannot guarantee. No, it's not on there, this would be a capital item.
Okay,
This
okay.
would be a capital item.
seeing how we weren't involved in the original lease agreement, they didn't write in there where we had the option to lease more carts in the future at the same rate?
No,
Bummer.
no,
Okay,
yep. That would have been great.
okay, so.
We'd have had a heck of a ride for the next 30, 40 years if that would have been the case, yeah.
So how many times, and I don't know, all I've done is move them around from there to here.
Yeah.
How many times do they need to be moved from north to south and south to north?
Well, I would say the majority of it is moving it from north to south. I would say the NAEC tournament last year, we had to bring some carts over. I would say 4 of the larger tournaments, we had to bring some carts over. And there was one tournament that we rented carts from Clear Creek. And of course, we passed that cost on, but they charged us a delivery fee to bring them in. They charged a delivery fee to take them back because we didn't have enough and we completely depleted them here.
Okay.
So, for us to continue to promote having some of those great tournaments, and that's something that's on the agenda to keep doing that. We made $11,000 off our tournament profit this year. That paid for some carts.
So at the most, when we have a tournament at the South Course, what is the most carts we have used there?
Well, we've taken all of them but 4 here.
And then we still had to lease some from,
The next time we took all of them from here,
Right.
which I didn't understand that was going on, and we leased some.
how many carts was totaled in?
Like
How many did we lease?
36. It was like 36 carts total. So our 30,
So you lease 6
or
more?
our 40 and 6 more.
Okay.
So 10, I think, would cover us. It would be a nice little addition to what we've got. And I do want to continue to promote the tournaments.
Right.
Even just leasing our course, we make money. And if we can promote the weekday tournaments, when the courses are the slowest, those are the days we're not making the money.
36 carts. Yeah. Teams. Okay. Well, that's something we need to review. Okay, moving on.
Well,
Oh, go ahead.
how much review do we need? What kind of thinking, since we can't meet outside of this meeting to talk about it, what kind of, or do you have baseball or football to go to this afternoon?
No.
Because I'm trying to do the arithmetic right quick, and the only reason I think it's on the agenda is because there is obviously some need for it, and it's not going to get any cheaper if we keep waiting.
Well, let me say this, it has to start as new business.
Right.
To go to
Yeah.
old business to be
Right.
voted on. And I believe because we're going to be having our budget review, that in the next few weeks, soon after the holidays, we'll come together again. So then it would be old business and could be,
Voted on, and they'll have the interest rates for us then.
Okay.
they could lock it in then, we'd be in the place where we'd be able to have more firm. I just wanted it to be on the agenda and opened up to talk
Okay.
about, so that when we do have that meeting, and there's that same list of capital improvements that y'all got on the very first meeting, that's gonna come back up, so a lot of those things didn't get done. So those will be things that'll come back up at our budget meeting too.
Okay.
Any more discussion on this? Ron?
No, sir, other than we keep asking people to donate $2 million.
Tony?
You said how many cars do we need for a tournament?
It's
How
pretty-
many do we need?
What's the biggest tournament we have?
It was our 40 and 6 more.
So we have 46.
Right.
Tony, off the top of my head, I could not tell you which tournament that was, but I know I could say there's at least 4 that we transported carts back and forth, and there was one that we leased 6. And only one time did we take all of them from here, so that would have been 40.
Right.
Only one time did we take all of them from here, and then we said, we've got to leave some carts here. We can't have people show up and then not be able to play.
So that would give us, if we go with the 10, that'd give us 50 total.
Yes.
Okay. Joe, any questions? Susan?
No, I'm good.
Okay, let's move on to the next item. 2023 budget conversion and review. You're on. You are on.
Well, so this is a draft. I've got draft across there, so we never get them mixed up with all the changes that will soon to come. I tried to give you a good overview on the front page of any changes. But here's something I want to say out loud to everybody on record. We have a huge benefit coming to us this year because as the last month and a half as I've been working on our assessments to send to Sharp and Fulton County and loading up all of those huge bulk sales that have occurred this year, we went from billing 14,899 parcels last year to this year at 20,049. That is 5,000 more lots sold this year. 5,000 more lots we are on the books to collect assessments for, which totaled $563,000. That was 6 months of sales with ALC. Since then, we haven't sold $2,000 worth of lots, and that's what's going in our refund. So we need to think how we're going to get these refunds out to people and how that process is going to start and how we can pick those things up. And I don't have the answers, but it's in black and white. So I think that's something that was important for everybody to hear. As you go through the beginning of this draft, you've got your income section in the front. It's got all of your income comparisons on page 2. And then every page after that splits up your individual departments. What I did on here is I made a column for what our 2020 budget was. The next column is what we have actually spent. And that was only through the end of November's financials because we're still in the month. So I tried to project what we've spent in the last months and put together my forecast for 2023. You're going to see a lot of numbers that are based on actuals, and we were pretty good last year with a lot of our numbers, but we still made some profit, or we made more than what we had determined. You'll get to the next section, which will talk about expenses. It'll give you that same cover sheet with each department expenses broken down, and then following it is each one in detail. I tried to do comments out to the right on every one of them if it was something funky or different. I think the main things to keep in our head is that we got that roof money. We got the money, that $205,000 we got for insurance proceeds. We've spent it, but those were not budgeted items. So when you look at the financials and you see that the golf course is over budget by $60,000. It's a roof and the heating and air conditioning unit and the work that we've been doing because we had the money from the insurance proceeds. So I tried to make note of that. I know this is a lot to absorb, but I wanted to get something to you. I'll tell you, going back to the assessments for the county, There was a deadline on that, it's tomorrow. I was able to get it to them on Monday. I sent them exactly the same thing that we did last year, which was an Excel spreadsheet that was pulled from the county that listed all of the appraised land values. We physically go through every single parcel and do the caps, making sure that, the golf course, the lakes, the unimproved, all of those caps are in there. We double checked with the county to make sure. I sent them to them, and they said, this is different. This isn't what we usually get. I don't know what we're going to do with this. We don't have time to do this. Fulton County said, well, I'll try to get them all billed for you. I know it's different. We have got so many challenges that this settlement put out there that has no definition of how we're supposed to follow through with that agreement. It's impossible. There's no way, but we're going to have to go back to the judge and get some clarification on some things. I don't know how else to explain it, but the county wants to do the same thing they've been doing for the last 50 years too, and it's hard for them to understand in their system and their programs to know how to make changes. But last year, we were able to give them the spreadsheet that I provided them on Monday, and they loaded everything into their systems, and they confirmed with us the number was right and the amount was right with Sharp County. Fulton County did not. But now they're saying, well, we just do the same thing every year. That's what we've always done. So I'm hoping that we're not going to have any issues, but I want to be upfront and transparent that the old ways are hard to change for everybody, and it's going to be different this year for them too.
Okay. Is that something that maybe we need Joey to address, and how?
I think that we're going to have an attorney to address it, and we've talked about it. Can you hear us, Joey? Y'all see him?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm in the settlement agreement, and we've had numerous conversations about how certain aspects of the settlement agreement affect other decisions that the SID makes. And so one of the things I'm doing is reaching out to Matt Bishop, who was the attorney for the SID in the litigation, try to get a little bit more context on some of the terms that were entered into, and whether or not there was discussion during that time frame of the settlement agreement about some of these other issues that are raising their head. The other aspect of this is whether this is something, the judge that we had in the judge was an appointed judge and a special judge. And so I'm not sure if that judge would still be somebody that would hear the issues if we went back to court to ask to open the settlement agreement back up, get more details, more guidance, or whether we would have to go through another type of process to get a new judge that would then come in and make a decision. So I've started putting out the feelers to other folks involved in the settlement agreement so that we can try to figure some of this stuff out and make sure that we're not in a situation where we have to go back on the way that we've done it because we've done it wrong. And so we're trying to, it's a situation right now where there's reasonable interpretations to several different provisions. And, if you take one option, there might be certain consequences. If you take another option, there may be other consequences. So what we're really trying to do is, one, figure out what the best option is based on the language of the settlement agreement. And then two, if it's something that is not going to be a negative to us, whether or not that route is the best route to take, or the third route is to lay this all out for either the judge that heard it the last time or a new judge, and try to get the court to provide us some guidance. And so those bills have already started.
Well, I'll tell you too, Joey, I haven't spoken to you since I spoke to the assessor at Sharp County. They're having a reappraisal next year. And they said Fulton County would follow the year afterwards. So how is that going to affect our, number one, the people that have prepaid their assessments? And then what if the assessments go down? What if they go up? I mean, it's going to be, how does that happen? So that's going to be another issue we're going to have to address as the county starts doing their reappraisals.
I think that's correct, and I think that there will be other issues that arise that we're not even aware of right now that we're going to have to work through. So, getting communication opened up with lawyers, the negotiating settlement, personnel, if they include it, then we're going to vote on it.
All right, sounds good. GM update report, I feel like I just already gave it. Really what I had on there was just to talk about the assessments and our improvements and, the budget. That's really all I have. So sorry, y'all, I don't know why my phone is picking up that Bluetooth. And I don't know how to get it off. Sorry.
That's it?
That's it for me.
Okay. Well, we're down to property owners again. Anybody would like to come up and speak to us? Nobody speaking today, huh? Well, we do have to go into executive session. We have a personnel matter that we have to take care of. So at this time, I need a motion to break for executive session.
Make a motion.
Is there a
Second session.
Joe seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
It carries. We will return shortly. Call a meeting back to order. We had a personnel matter about an employee that has resigned, and we have settled it.
Nothing needed to be voted on.
Nothing needed to be voted on. With that is,
any
I'm going to give you, anybody
There is
want
no
to comment?
comments. No one is privy to that information that
No, I mean,
is
did
in
anybody
there,
want to say
right?
anything?
Right, okay.
So with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
I
adjourn.
motion to,
Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
I motion to adjourn.
I need a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Happy New Year.